your federal pension is probably the most important benefit that you'll have, because it's an income that you're going to get in your retirement, and you're not going to be able to outlive that. It's going to be with you for the rest of your life. So the decisions that you make in selecting that pension is very, very critical. Hey, my name is Momodou Bojang. I spent decades helping federal government employees to make smart and confident choices so that they'll be able to retire happily ever after. So I'm going to show you a scenario over here, an individual that we met, a scenario that I'm going to put out there, right, in terms of like federal pension decisions that you're going to make in about that, right? So let's dive into it. So there's an individual over here that has worked for the federal government for over 3 decades, right? Rightfully so, didn't complain, show up to work, and then be able to do his job, and then be able to retire, deserve this. So now it becomes more like you have to make a decision what the federal pension is going to look like, what selections you're going to make. And this individual is married. So the way the federal pension works is, one, when you retire, you got to be able to make a choice what benefits you're going to get. So you're going to look at it on the side and say, okay, what will happen to you in case something happens to you, you die? What will happen to your surviving spouse, right? So for your federal pension, you have basically 3 options. You can cancel it, or your spouse can choose to opt in for the maximum survivor benefit, or to basically do the partial benefit, right? So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to hold on to the cancel first, so we're going to take that last, okay? But let's talk about the maximum survivor benefit. So the maximum survivor benefit, that means that if in the event that you actually end up opting into that, or your spouse end up opting into that because your spouse actually hold the cards in this, right? That means it's going to cost you 10% of your pension, so that when you die, your spouse can get the maximum survivor benefit, which is 50% of your pension, right? So only the federal government will call the maximum 50%, right? Or if you think that's too much for you, the other option that you have is the minimum survivor benefit, which means it will cost you about 5% of your pension, so that your spouse can get, your surviving spouse can get a quarter of your pension in case you die, okay? And then when you decide to cancel or waive that survivor benefit, which, by the way, when you waive, your spouse will have to sign, and that needs to be notarized. But when you waive that, you want to make sure that there are consequences to that, meaning that if your spouse is not a federal employee and rely on your health insurance, then that's going to be a problem. Then she's not going to have that health insurance. But let's look at this. This is why most people, when we talk to them, this is some of the challenges that we see over here. So they'll come to us over here. So this individual over here going to retire, 63, the pension will come down to about $5,686. Very nice pension. We'll look at this. But we talk to this individual, we'll say, well, hey, why not look into the maximum survivor benefit for the spouse? What does that mean? For him to basically get a maximum survivor benefit, so to give maximum survivor benefit to the spouse, that's going to cost 10% of this. So 10% of that will be about $569. $569, that's going to be deducted from the pension every single month, right? So when you subtract these two, so basically his pension now comes down to $5,117, right? So the pension will go down. Sorry about that. It comes down to $5,117, right? So the pension will come down, okay? Which we understand that. But, most people don't like this. They're looking at it to say, okay, well, if this is monthly, so you multiply this by 12, that means that 12 months is going to cost you $6,000 to be able to provide $2,000 for your spouse just in case you die. See, this is the number one issue over here. Most people, when they talk about the cost, they look at it and say, why would I do this? I get it. Okay? So what they would do is to say, well, I'm not going to pay this now. Well, what if, I can keep this and then keep more of the money coming into my account. That way we can enjoy that now. I'm going to live longer. Well, we don't know that. This is the problem over here. Well, if you don't do the survival benefit here, and then God forbid, you retire here, you just live for only 3 years, and then God forbid, you die, the consequences are dire. Number one, your 33 years federal career that you spend is gone because now you waived it, your spouse waived it, so no pension is coming in, and that's pretty much done. Right. Number two, your spouse is relying on that health insurance. So now because you die, not only your spouse is not going to get any pension coming in, she also doesn't have that health insurance. This is very, very, very dangerous thing to do. So that's why when we sit with our clients, we want to look at the totality of things and be able to explain that to you. Now, so let's fast forward over here. Let's say, okay, obviously this person has a pension over here. The pension grows with the COLA. Okay, the fee also goes up. So if you multiply this by 12 again, then this comes over here. So if you add these two together, that means for that 24 consecutive months, the fee is going to be $13,000. So if this individual, what they're looking at to say, okay, 15 years from now, and if we look at it, 15 years, you'll pay about $131,000 over here. They'll look at it and say, wow, that's a lot of money that you're paying. Well, yeah, I get it. It's a lot of money. But in 15 years, if you die, and we know men tend to, women tend to live longer than men. So if you die over here, well, your spouse now started getting $4,058 a month. You know how long it will take for your spouse to recoup this? Almost about a little bit over 2.5 years old. 2.5 years, be able to recoup all of that. So we have to think about the consequences of doing this, right? I know there's a lot to do about it. There's a lot of factors involved in here, but we want to be able to look at what insurance do you have, life insurance you have outside, what assets you have to be able to make so that you make these decisions out there. But please do not look at just only the cost. You got to look at the totality of your situation, just in case if you're not here, what does that mean for the surviving spouse, right? Because when somebody dies, there are two things. There's an emotional distress and there's a financial distress. Emotional distress, we're not going to be able to probably solve that, but financial distress, with right proper planning, we can solve that. Hey, I hope you get some value in here. I hope this gives you some sort of like an insight in terms of like your pension selection. By the way, if you get some value in here, the first thing that I would like to do, subscribe to the channel, because this is where we bring in timely information for you, to you as a federal government employee, so that you can make smart and competent choice and be able to impact your retirement in a powerful way. Also, hey, talk to your friends about this channel. Make sure that they come to and share and then subscribe to this channel, because this is where they're going to get real-time information in here. So I hope you get some value over here, and then we encourage you to come back again and get more timely information in here. I hope you get some value, and thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.